I'm reviewing another episode of My Little Pony. I didn't like this one either.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Not to sow any discord, but I do believe that the show did start to decline after I stopped reviewing it after Season 4. I believe that Season 5 was quite a bit of a step down.
To level with you guys, I have watched every single episode of this show up until the end of Season 5. I stopped reviewing them after Season 4 way back when for a couple of reasons. Most importantly for our purposes is that I felt that Season 5 was a step down from Season 4. The 4th season of Friendship is Magic is genuinely one of the best seasons of any animated show that I had ever seen. It definitely had its duds. I could be reviewing Some Pony to Watch Over Me or Rainbow Falls instead if I wanted to, and maybe someday we'll do just that. And it's not like Season 5 and beyond didn't have some truly outstanding gems. Amending Fences is the standout that's pointed to for a very sweet story that's a much more optimistic take on forgiveness than something like BoJack Horseman's The Telescope. I could go through a few other classics as well. Brotherhood Social, Crusaders of the Lost Mark, The Main Attraction. That one might just be my favorite episode of the entire show. But on average, things seem to be sliding in a downward direction. The show didn't get terrible, but Friendship is Magic seemed to be losing that magic. You know, it was small things here and there. Episodes where they started losing a grip on the characters, like the one where Rainbow Dash, the one who will bluntly tell her friends that they are ugly to their face, had apparently been lying about not liking pies of all things to Pinky for years. And to be a bit brutally honest, the actually bad episodes did increase in volume. The show in general did have bad episodes from the start, but through Season 5 we had Tanks for the Memories, Appaloosa's Most Wanted, What About Discord, Do Princesses Dream of Magic Sheep, each of them having a wide array of serious problems, all culminating in the Cutie Remark, the first two-parter that I actively did not like. So with all that in mind, let's talk about Honest Apple and why Applejack is worst pony.
It's a call for submissions. Fashion contest I'm organizing. A showcase for aspiring young designers. And wait until you hear who else will be a judge.
You ever get the feeling when you're about to watch someone do something really stupid, like stick a fork in an outlet or start a YouTube career? That's the kind of feeling that this episode gives me all the way through. And I'm not entirely sure why.
The third judge for the Carousel Boutique's Couture du Futur Fashion Contest is none other than Applejack!
You ever feel like what you do is entirely pointless? I mean, what I do is pointless. I review cartoons for a living. But even more so as of late, because I keep picking episodes where the problem is so completely obvious, so on the face of it that the concept is just wrong, that I feel like, why do you even need me? This is so incredibly obvious. Like, is this episode a joke?
The third judge for the Carousel Boutique's Couture du Futur Fashion Contest is none other than Applejack!
Is the staff or somebody just trolling the audience? Like, who in all seriousness thought seriously to have Applejack judge a fashion show without any semblance of irony or humor?
But sometimes we designers forget about practicality. That's where you come in.
Right, because high fashion is absolutely known for its practicality.
Besides, a judge must be honest, and you're the most honest pony there is.
You want honesty? This was a terrible fucking idea. Hey Lois, this reminds me of the time I tried to give flight lessons.
Are you sure you know what you're doing? Oh no, I've never flown a plane before in my life. What? Then why are you my instructor? You know what they say, those who can't do teach. We are going to die! This might be a bad time to tell you, but there are no refunds, and the parachutes are extra.
This is... She looks like a disco ball. Did they have to roll her down the runway?
You know, on second thought, this is actually a super sensible idea. Asking Applejack to judge a fashion show. I can't believe that it took until season 7 for someone to think of this super obvious idea. I can see absolutely no reason why Applejack, the character who has never shown any interest in fashion and actively went against Rarity's interest in it time and time again, wouldn't be the perfect choice to judge a fashion show.
Ah, yes, that explains it. This letter says that I have an IQ of 25.
So, please tell me, please educate me, why does Applejack even decide to agree to this disaster piece?
You don't need a fancy scarf to keep your hat on. Now you can see. You know what? I am gonna help Rarity judge her show. I think my sensible every pony take on fashion is exactly what the pony community needs.
Oh yeah, that makes absolutely perfect sense. I remember when I told my roommate that he should put on a scarf because it was cold outside, and immediately I decided to become a world-renowned fashion critic.
You want to know the stupidest part of this episode, though? Applejack's actually a good fashion critic.
The show pretends that she's not, but the designers in the show have very interesting design philosophies.
You have a very focused vision. A strong sense of what you want. It's good.
Well, it's a lot of black. It's kinda depressing.
Like, she has a point, though. Monochrome isn't just dreadful. It's boring to look at. It's not depressing, it just makes you blend into the background, which is the last thing you want in the world of high fashion. Accenting it with some red, blue, purple, or even green highlights the inner darkness of the ensemble. It's so depressing when supposed experts don't know the simplest fact about their own medium. It makes me want to die. I love it.
This morning, on my way here, I heard a bird singing literally the most beautiful song, and I wanted to capture not so much the bird's song exactly, but more like how the wind carried the bird's song.
Then you're like, totes should have accented the design with some blue. Pure yellow just doesn't give peeps wind vibes, you know? And like, once again, monochrome? That is just so grody. Like, is this an antique photo? I don't think so!
I'm not interested in what's already been done, only what will exist in the future.
Yeah, no, Teach, I didn't do my assignment last night. That's because I'm not interested in what has already been done, only what will exist in the future.
Seriously though, deadline's tomorrow. Dear Jar, get out of here!
To be as fair as I can, they do try to make Applejack look like a moron who doesn't know what she's talking about. And they do it in the exact same way they do it any time that they want Applejack to look like a moron. By completely abandoning logic and pretending that Applejack is an entirely different character. I mean, trying to at least.
But of course, no look is complete without mane and makeup.
So, when are you gonna do her mane?
Oh, it's already been done.
Finally, someone who gets it. Like, this right here, this takes like 8 hours every single night. You know how hard I have to work rolling around in my bed to get it looking just like this every single day?
With the way it drags behind, it'll be covered in dirt in no time.
A problem any other gown on the show, including all of the ones that you yourself have worn, has never, ever, ever had. So, constantly criticizing people, being entirely aware that no one else likes her opinions, hypes Applejack up and makes her think that she's the absolutely perfect fashion critic. There exists a place for people like this, you know.
How'd the first day of the contest go?
Great! At first, I didn't think I'd be much help, but thank goodness I signed on. Without me, they'd be doing all kinds of crazy fashion-y things.
One of the biggest problems with this episode is that it's just so repetitive. It's the rule of 3. You know what that is, right? The rule of 3. Gotta do things 3 times for the story to just feel right. There's a bunch of science to explain it, but that's not important for the purposes of this review. What is important is that's why there are 3 fashion contestants. It's also why Applejack critiques each of the 3 fashion designers 3 times each. Can you excuse me for a second? I gotta make a call.
Hey, I got a question for you.
It's better be urgent. I'm in the middle of something incredibly important right now. The balance of the world is at stake.
It's urgent.
Okay, what is it?
What is 3 times 3?
You're serious?
Yeah, 3 times 3.
It's, 9.
You sure about that?
You graduated high school, correct?
We'll talk about my forged diploma later. Is that your final answer? It's 9. You're sure about that?
Yes, the answer is 9.
Alright then. It's not the rule of 9s!
Hello? Hello? At least now I can finally get my hands on that maple syrup.
Sorry, sir. We don't sell our breakfast menu after 11 a.m.
Curses!
If buttons could convey sadness, you've done it.
They convey waking up an hour early just to button them all.
It's just like the never-ending cycle of life. One misery after another with nothing to change up the formula. By not listening to Applejack, the fashion designer learned nothing, creating a design just as one note as the previous. She has learned nothing, and thus will become nothing. Simply dust in the wind.
Who cares if it's stitched perfectly? You don't need feathers on your head.
Like, OMG, you guys, Applejack is getting, like, totes ratioed on Twitter. To be honest, I was surprised it took that long for her, like, to be totally exposed for her racism towards Griffins. It literally just occurred to me. This is the whole episode. This is all that it is. Designer does something. Applejack says it sucks in an increasingly pretentious manner. Over, and 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 over. See what this shit's like? It gets old fast. And over, and over, and over, and over.
What? Oh, no, it's just, those belts look the same.
Well, that one completely changes the look. This one complements it.
Never, never, never!
I told you I was keeping it. All joking aside, those belts, they are animated and drawn exactly the same, which conveys to the audience that Applejack is correct in her assertion. This episode really wants Applejack to look like a fashion idiot, but it's hard to do that when whoever wrote or storyboarded this doesn't know much about fashion themselves, or doesn't care about these details. You could have made the belts 2 similar colors, for instance, but no, they're exactly the same color. Once again, making Applejack correct. Then again, it wouldn't be the first time an animation error has ruined the plot of a Friendship is Magic episode. Or this episode specifically.
My little sister tried to add some flair to her hat, and guess what it got her? An extra hour of work picking apples off the ground.
It would have also helped Applejack if you aimed properly while bucking them while her hat was on, instead of scattering the apples everywhere.
The judges have quit, the designers have dropped out, the show is cancelled, and it's all Applejack's fault!
Oh, totally. I 100% agree with you, Rarity. Applejack absolutely destroyed this competition. In fact, I agree with you so much that we should take action. Whoever brought that dim-witted idiot on board should be fired immediately. They should never work in the fashion world ever again. It was such a stupid decision. Just give me the word and point the direction, and we'll cast them out together. I mean, this was just one of the most stupid, idiotic decisions. Can you believe it? Having Applejack of all possible characters, judge a fashion show. Like, that's not just bad day stupid. It's not just desperate stupid. It's I am seriously concerned for this pony's well-being stupid. So, Rarity, just point me to the pony and I will make sure that they not only never work in fashion again, but I will get them pointed to the proper authorities for a full mental examination.
I was just saying what I thought. And isn't that why you wanted me to be a judge? For my honesty? And I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, come with me! This is Applejack. I was wondering if you could tell her how you feel about apples.
Apples are better than strawberries.
Only if by better you mean better at being disgusting.
You'd better apologize.
Oh, I'm sorry, but you actually bite into those tasteless, mealy, worm-filled things.
Worm-filled?
Yeah, this is why I stick with my preferred snack choice.
What?
Applejack, why are you so angry? It's just Strawberry's honest opinion. What's wrong with that?
Say what you want about this episode, at least it has a good moral for the kiddies. Dear Princess Celestia, today I learned that I should keep even my most innocuous opinions all bottled up. Today I learned that some people out there are so emotionally undeveloped that they can't even process that someone might prefer one fruit to another. So even if somebody asks me to judge a competition, specifically asking me for my honesty, I should just lie like a dog to protect other people's feelings. Could you imagine how Rarity would have written the Emperor's New Clothes? And though the Emperor was walking through the streets buck naked, the child knew that it would be rude and would hurt the Emperor's feelings to tell him that he had been scammed. And all of the king's horses and all the king's men chuckled behind the Emperor's back for the rest of his life, which only lasted a few more months because the thieves drained the palace coffers, until the people rebelled and then took their naked, idiotic Emperor to the guillotine.
And they all lived happily ever after. The hell, Rarity! That was dark!
I apologize.
So, you don't think fashion is ridiculous?
Well, I still don't understand it.
You know, maybe that's the problem here. This whole time I've been thinking this episode was terrible, but maybe I'm just not cultured enough to understand it. I'll be right back, I've got some exploring to do. I ventured through the infinite cosmos for eons, searching for the purpose of life. I've lived not just my own life, but every version of my life throughout the entire multiverse. And then every version of everyone else's life. Man, woman, animal, plant, bacteria, it didn't matter. I was everyone. Yes, that includes you, Tony. And yes, you do have a fucking weird life. After all of this, I had finally reached Nirvana and acquired infinite wisdom. But after all this time, there was one question that I can never ever answer. I still had no idea why anyone would think that it was a good idea for Applejack to judge a fashion show.
After everything that's happened, Applejack is the deciding vote. This is so exciting!
Sorry, but I couldn't pick just one.
So what you're telling me, what you're telling us all, is that Applejack makes no decision, thus rendering her contribution to being entirely pointless. Meaning that this episode was like totes pointless. I'm turning 30 this month, by the way. This video is supposed to end with me eating the potato, but there is only so far that I will go for a joke. Things I do for comedy. God damn it. Ow. Don't eat raw potatoes, ladies and gentlemen. And that is apparently too far. I'll eat the wiggly little gummy bears. My next 30 years are going to be interesting. I can tell. No matter what happens here.